RealAg Shops is brought to you by Princess Auto. RealAg Shops is where we pull wrenches, keep the farm going, and get our hands a little dirty. Welcome to this week's tour.
Welcome to Chris Enterprises and Crestwind Acres. I'm Alex Ferguson and I farm here with my son Chris in Eastern Ontario. We farm about 2,000 acres of corn and soybeans, wheat. We run a small trucking business, and my son Chris also has a Maizex seed dealership. I'd like to tell you about our shop. First thing that you need to know is that this used to be part of a dairy barn. We bought a farm back in 2022, a dairy operation that there were no longer milking cows, and this 40 by 60 was an addition they had just recently put onto the barn. When we were down there, Chris and I got standing in the new part of the barn, and we got looking around, and I said to Chris, this would make a great shop, but if it was only 6 feet higher, and how are we going to get it from 5 miles down the road to our place? So that we started the process of looking into building a shop. We needed a shop. We didn't have a shop at the time, so we decided to try and make this work. So we looked at taking it apart piece by piece. We looked at trying to rebuild it. And then Chris suggested maybe we should try and see if we could get somebody to move it. We contacted Chamberlain House building movers from Plantagenet, and Carl came down and he looked around and he said, yeah, he said, we can do this. My guys will like this job. He said, it'd be a break from moving houses. Well, we were quite impressed with his attitude and his can-do attitude on it, and so they came, and then basically what they did is they split the roof in two, took the tin off the top and took the ceiling out, cut the strapping, and disconnected the rafters from the top plate, and then they were able to lift that off in two separate pieces, 30 by 40 and 30 by 40, and set them on two trailers that were specifically made for moving buildings. And then this wall, which was originally the south wall, which is 60 feet long by 10 feet high, they cut it off the bottom plate, picked that up in one piece, and put that on another trailer. And then this east wall is a combination of the west wall and the east wall of the original barn, and that came in three pieces, and we put that together to make that existing wall. And with his trailers loaded, he trucked them down here 5 miles down the road with all his flag people and escorts, and brought the building to us to put on our foundation. So this is our wall that we built to accommodate, to set the existing dairy barn on. It's what we call an ICF wall. It's styrofoam on, I think it's 2 or 3 inches of styrofoam and filled with cement. And it was a 10-foot wall, 4 feet in the ground, 6 feet above. And we added the 10-foot dairy wall to it, existing wall, which gave us a 16-foot ceiling to accommodate our 14 by 24-foot door. The time frame that it took us to build this, they took the barn, it took them about 4 days. 2 days to take it apart. They trucked it down here, and 2 days to put it back on the foundation. They put the walls up first. This wall was put together because it was 3 pieces. We had a contractor here at the same time working with the building movers. And once they got the walls up, they basically set the 2 pieces of the roof back on. And we seemed to have instantly, we had a shop. We still had some work to do to finish it, but when all was said and done, we were only out 1/2 inch in that corner for getting everything lined up. So as far as a building move, it went very well and very smoothly, and we were quite pleased of how the crews came together and put it up so quickly for us. It's really amazing the job that the building movers did. They never, there was very little damage, actually no damage to the building whatsoever. These are all the original windows that were in the barn. There was not one window that was broken. We never had to replace a window. The only thing that was cracked is they cracked one ceiling panel up top. All the insulation stayed in the building when they moved it. They wrapped the building up, and so then we didn't lose any insulation. We had to replace very little bit of insulation. We added some insulation, but as far as losing and the installation, so there was quite a bit of cost savings as far as the move goes, and it worked out really, really well as far as bringing a building 5 miles down the road and setting it up as a new building. The biggest challenge we had in building our shop was we did it during COVID. The cost, as everybody knew, the price of everything was going crazy. They moved the shop, moved the building for $25,000, and at that time we could not buy the material to build what was the building for $25,000, let alone the labor to put it up. So we felt there was quite a bit of a cost savings to moving the building instead of building it from scratch. If we would have built the building from scratch, we would probably built a bigger building or done things differently, but this is what we had to work with was 40 by 60, and that's just how we ended up with a 40 by 60 shop. Another example of our COVID challenges was our door. The original quote for the door was $7,000, and one time we got the door during the COVID price increases, the door was $14,000. We ran into the same issues with the heating system. Most people that are building new shops today put in-floor heating. We had a quote of over $25,000 just to put the heating system in the shop, in the floor. So we decided to go with radiant heat. It actually is a better fit for us because we seem to be bringing a lot of stuff in the winter that needs to be unthawed quickly, and radiant heat is one of the best ways to get something thawed out as quick as possible. It also has a better recovery time when you have a big door like that in the cold weather. It'll recover faster, the heat faster than a radiant floor. If you have the shop warm, all the steel and cement, it's surprising how warm it makes it, and we've been very happy with the radiant heat option instead of the radiant floor heating system. Let's take a walk outside and take a look at the shop from the outside. So this wall was originally was the wall, the end of the barn that was attached to the old barn. So this whole wall is all brand new because we had to frame it for the new door and so that end of it. But on the sides, we were able to salvage all the tin. This is the original tin from the barn, the original soffits that were with the barn, and the original tin on the roof. This break line is where the ICF wall starts. So this is new tin going from here on down. And then we put a aluminum plate along the bottom to protect the styrofoam from damage there. So it was worked out fairly well because, as you can see, the tin wasn't very weathered on the old barn, and it matched up almost perfectly with the new tin that we got. Sometimes you'd have a color change there, but we were really happy that we were able to match the two shades of red. So let's go in the shop and I'll show you how we've got it laid out and how things work in the shop. This is basically a single bay shop because of the size that we had to work with, the 40 by 60 size. So we try to keep everything to the outside edges so that we have this main bay as our main area to work. We have our workbench over there. We keep it near the door and at that end so we have more room to move stuff in. If we do have to take something apart, we have an area here to take things, tractor or whatever needs to be taken apart right here. So far we've been able to work on all our machinery in here, even though it's only a one bay and it's only 40 by 60. We keep our oils and grease and stuff there, our torches, oils, parts, cleaning, and we bought some of these cabinets at an auction and painted them up and to use as storage. We've got our press, our drill press, and our scissor lift there. Down this wall we've got our maintenance schedule for our equipment and more parts, storage and filters there. And here's our workbench. On this side here we just have some shelving with stuff that we use quite a bit on a regular basis. And in our trusty old toolbox, and then we invested in this shop bench here for storage, bolts and bolt rack, more storage. This is actually oils and stuff for the truck side, and that is actually for the farm side, so we keep them separate so when the employees don't get them confused. One thing that we're going to change is this DEF tank. This is for our DEF trucks and stuff. We have built an insulated room in our machine shed, and this tank is going to come out because it's taking up too much room and it's getting too hard to access with the trucks. And we tucked our compressor in behind the door just to keep it out of the way. The thing that I find important about our shop, it may be small, but we also are very close to our old shop, what we call the old shop, which is a barn. And we keep a lot of stuff in that barn, stuff that we don't use on a daily basis, or stuff that's bulky, or it's storage. So it does a lot to keep all that mess out of the shop, and we only keep the relevant stuff in the shop. And that has been a plus for us to be able to have that facility so close to our main shop. Take you into our office. This is not part of the original barn. This is a new build that we added on to the shop when we built it. My son Chris wanted an office. The original office was in the house, and he felt that we should be moving out of the house. So he came up with this idea of putting this addition on the back end of the shop. So we have an office, and on the other side of this wall there's a mechanical room for the shop and washroom, and it's worked out really well. It's really been a really good move. It got all the business out of the house, and then Chris does all this business in here. His wife Whitney is working with us there now on doing the bookkeeping, so this is her desk. Chris has his own desk, and we've got area for the drivers and myself for stuff. It's completely ICF walls right to the top. And they put a cathedral ceiling in it to give it a more open look, and all we use is an air-to-air heat exchanger to heat and cool it, and it's very, very easy to heat and very easy to cool, and it's been probably the best investment we've made as far as our operation goes to keep things running smoothly. So there you have it. That's our shop. Thank you very much for coming out for a tour. It was a great experience moving this building to repurpose it into a functional shop for ourselves. We would probably do it again. I've got some other projects that I'd like to tackle, moving a building to make a wash bay and making more storage in my barn. I hope you're able to pick up some interesting information. If you ever want to move a shop, it can be done.